Greetings, seekers of wisdom. Today we're going to delve into how to defeat your enemies, not through violence, but by harnessing the power of the mind and spirit. We'll explore 5 silent but deadly ways that can help you achieve victory without engaging in open confrontation.
Once, a young disciple asked a master, "How do I defeat my enemies?" The master smiled and replied, "Victory is not found in battle, but in the silence between blows. The sharpest sword is the one never drawn, and the deadliest strike is the one that never lands." The disciple was confused. "How can I deal with my enemies if I do not attack?" The master took a small stone and threw it into a still pond. Ripples spread across the water, reaching the shores effortlessly. "Power is like this water," the master said. "It is not the stone that is strong, but the ripples that move the world." There are 5 silent but deadly ways to overcome an enemy. These are not paths of violence, but paths of wisdom. These are weapons that do not wound, but disarm. They do not destroy, but leave nothing in their way. Let's begin. The first way is the blade of patience. Once, a warrior sought revenge on a man who had humiliated him. He sharpened his sword every day, waiting for the moment to strike. But an old monk told him, "If you want to strike him down, do not sharpen your sword, sharpen your patience." Years passed. The warrior did not act, but only observed. He saw his enemy rise to power, become arrogant, and make many enemies. He saw him become reckless, betray his own allies, and dig his own grave. One day, the man was defeated by his own mistakes. He fell not by the warrior's blade, but by the weight of his own arrogance. The warrior understood that the deadliest strike is not made in anger, but with time. Patience is the most powerful weapon. Enemies will sooner or later make mistakes, and their own flaws will consume them. If you act too soon, you can be burned by the fire of your own emotions, but if you wait, the fire will burn itself out, leaving only ashes. Many battles are won simply by waiting. When an enemy is consumed by their own arrogance, impatience, or recklessness, they destroy themselves. Do not waste your strength fighting when time will fight for you. The second way is the mirror of truth. Once, a deceitful man spread lies about a quiet philosopher, twisting the truth to turn others against him. The philosopher's students were furious and wanted to punish the liar. But the philosopher said, "Hold up a mirror, and the truth will reveal itself." And the students did nothing. They allowed the liar to continue his deception, and the more he spoke, the more obvious his contradictions became. People began to notice his inconsistencies, his dishonesty, and his selfish motives. Without a single word of defense, the liar was exposed. He became entangled in his own lies, and soon everyone turned away from him. The philosopher remained untouched, like a mountain rising above a storm. Truth is like a mirror. If you are still, others will see their own reflection in it. Lies are like waves. They crash loudly, but over time they retreat, leaving the shore unchanged. When an enemy attacks with deception, do not engage in a war of words. Let them speak. Let them twist the truth. Every lie they tell is a thread in the web they weave around themselves. Soon they will get caught in it themselves. Let the truth reveal itself. It is a silent blade that cuts deeper than any sword. The third way is the weight of kindness. Once, a warrior was insulted by his rival, who sought to provoke him into a duel. The warrior, strong and skilled, could have easily won, but instead of fighting, he bowed deeply and said, "I thank you for your words. They remind me of my own pride, and I need to reflect on them." The rival was stunned. He expected anger, not gratitude. He tried again to insult him, but the warrior just smiled and said, "You are helping me train my patience, and for that I am grateful." The rival was disappointed, confused, and finally ashamed. He left, never daring to challenge the warrior again. Kindness is heavier than hatred. When an enemy seeks to provoke you, they expect resistance. When there is no resistance, their strength is absorbed, and they are left with nothing. Hatred feeds on reaction. Without it, it dies. By responding with kindness, you force your enemy to fight with themselves. They expect a fight with you, but instead they fight with their own confusion, shame, and weakness. Kindness is the weight that crushes hatred without a single blow. The fourth way is the shadow of absence. Once, a cruel man tormented a wise monk, trying to break his spirit with insults, humiliation, and threats. But no matter what he did, the monk remained silent and unmoved. Once, driven to extremes, the cruel man shouted, "Why don't you answer? Can't you hear me? Don't you feel anything?" The monk simply said, "If a man brings a gift, and I don't accept it, to whom does it belong?" The cruel man understood his words. His hatred, his poison, all of it belonged only to him. It had not affected the monk at all. Defeated, he left, carrying his burden alone. Silence is a void into which hatred falls and disappears. When an enemy seeks to harm you, they expect resistance. If there is none, their energy is wasted. To be absent in battle is the highest form of presence. If you do not respond to an attack, it loses its power. By refusing to take what is offered to you, you leave your enemy alone with their own darkness, and there is no greater punishment than facing yourself. The fifth way is the echo of their own mind. A general, known for his cruelty, wanted to conquer a peaceful monastery. He sent spies to listen to the monks, looking for their weaknesses. The monks knew about the spies, but did nothing. They simply continued their daily practices, chanting, meditating, and teaching wisdom. The spies reported to the general, "They have no defenses, but their hearts are like iron. There is no fear, no doubt, no anger, only peace." The general was concerned. He had fought many armies, but never an enemy that he could not provoke. He had won many battles, but never against an opponent who wouldn't fight. His own doubts grew. Why was he seeking war? What was he afraid of? In the silence of his thoughts, he was defeated. He abandoned his conquest and left the monks in peace. The strongest enemy is not the one who fights, but the one who does not. When you refuse to be controlled by fear, anger, or pride, you create an echo in the mind of your enemy. They hear their own doubts, their own guilt, their own weaknesses. An enemy forced to face themselves is already defeated. The way of the silent warrior. The 5 silent but deadly ways to defeat an enemy are not paths of war, but paths of wisdom. This is the art of victory without conflict, the path of strength without violence. Each lesson shows that true strength is not in destruction, but in self-mastery. Let's reflect on each lesson, deepening our understanding of how these silent weapons shape the world around us and within us. Time cuts deeper than steel. Let deception consume itself. Kindness disarms hatred. Silence reflects the attacker. Let the enemy battle themselves. The disciple, having heard all the lessons, asked the master, "But what if my enemy is strong? What if they do not fall to these ways?" The master smiled and said, "Then they were never your enemy at all. An enemy is only an enemy if they can affect you. If their actions, their words, their presence do not move you, then they have no power over you. True victory is not found in the defeat of others, it is found in self-mastery. The most powerful person is the one who remains unmoved in the face of conflict. The sharpest blade is patience, the strongest armor is truth, the heaviest weight is kindness, the deepest silence is absence, the most powerful battlefield is the mind of the enemy. These are the 5 silent but deadly ways to defeat an enemy, not with force, not with violence, but with wisdom, to stand like a mountain before a storm, to remain a river that flows unconcerned by the stones thrown into it. To be the sky that does not answer the shouts of the world below. This is the path of the silent warrior. This is the path of true victory.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. This helps me create more great content for you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.